Okay, this is a trade focus video from Friday. I've got 3 or 4 stocks that I'm going to have a look at that might be of some interest again on Monday. First one here we've got is Wes, and this is a daily chart of Wes. This is a 12-month daily, I think. Potential swing low we're looking at right here, so I'll just bring that back into say 3 months, or let's go to 6 months. It's been in a nice uptrend here. Let's draw some trend lines on this thing to get a bit of a feel for what we're talking about. Okay, so we've got sort of a trend line up through here. That this is pretty much hit now. The other thing we could probably put on here is some fibs, and I think I had a look at some fibs at this the other night when I was looking at it. And if we run fibs maybe from that point there as well, up to this recent high, look at that, the 50 is pretty much in exactly the same spot. So possibly Wes is in a spot here where we could be looking for a bounce. For the swing to be of interest to me now, I'll just get rid of these overlays. I'd be looking at a break of Friday's high, so we'd be looking at a break of 33.26, something like that. So break of 33.26, especially if a bit of volume kicks in, and I'll probably be interested in looking at that swing, especially with the US strong overnight. Just have a quick look at the intraday chart from Friday and how Wes could have been tradable here. In fact, I did take a little short scalp. I'm not sure if I twittered it or not. It had been in a downtrend all day. Had news where you can see this little dot here, the December quarter coal prices. Was slightly after this little low here. And you can see soon after that news, it broke that low. So right there, it broke the lows. There was a nice little short in that from there, all the way down to, so that was a low of 32.69, 32.68, something like that. Got down to 32.55, so there's 13 ticks or so in that, probably 10 after brokerage or something. Bounced and made a lower high. So this is where we'd probably be looking for a swing high entry if you were quite bearish on it. I actually took this entry of a break of the initial low. I've spoken several times about waiting for the break of the initial range after news, so I didn't take that first dip, I don't think, but I looked for a break of this 32.55, which did come on the next leg down, and it dumped very quickly all the way down to 32.35. So there was 32.36, so there was 20 cents there, and I took that quick scalp down here and moved on. I call those coffee trade monies. It's just a quick trade for small profits, but they're quite gettable during the day. But if you were following this from then on, it actually made a lower high again. And very interestingly here, though, it couldn't break that previous low, so it made a higher low here, and that's where it becomes interesting again. I doubt I would have jumped in that soon, but once it made this high here at 32.50 and then dipped, a break of that would probably be enough there to suggest that, well, this could have some upside. You may want to wait, and we'll throw a line on this as well. Excuse the jumping on this. You may want to wait for a break of this little trend line here to get you into the trade, but there's quite a few little signals there to look for the entry to the long side. You take it there, you've got a nice uptrend for the rest of the day, and that's what's caused, if we go back to the hammer, to the daily chart, and you'll see the hammer on that daily chart, that's what's caused that hammer there, is that strong run in the afternoon. So it's still closed below its open, certainly not confirmed yet, but like I said, if that can break those highs of 33.26, I'd be more than interested in just seeing whether there's a bit of a swing trade in that one. Right, so that's Wes. The second one I'm going to have a look at is MHM. Right, that's the daily on MHM. You can see it's had a pretty amazing run in the last few weeks. It's gone from 25 odd up to 95 on Friday. Can see it was in quite a long sideways range until it did break that 25 res, and then it's been pretty strong since. We'll go to an intraday chart, say a 5-minute intraday. This is over the last few days. Actually, there we go, there's a few days worth there. Previous resistance areas here at 62.5, and then it's tried to get through there at 61 on Thursday morning and failed. So they're the key resistance areas to look for a swing if this thing was going to continue upwards. Friday it had sideways ranged under this 60-cent resistance, so it wasn't really going anywhere until I just clicked this little news button on here. You can see at 13.29 there was a research report. It was marked non-market sensitive, but it basically valued this company at $3, and this is what kicked it on. I happened to see that because I'd been following this company because it was so strong. Wasn't in it at the time. Immediately was looking for a break of these levels here, the 61 and the 62.5. I thought the 62.5 would be safer. Friday had been a fairly soft day, so I didn't take the break of 61, but watched that break of 62.5. There was quite a wall there from memory, and that went pretty quickly. This is a pretty surprising trade. You don't expect this on a Friday afternoon on a soft day, but as soon as it broke that 62.50, given that it had a $3 valuation put on it, it flew to 95. I actually covered some on that spike because it looked like $1 was going to hold it up. It did dipped all the way back to 82 and then tried to bounce again, and I still had some, only sold a part portion here. Once it couldn't really break that initial high too convincingly and started to dip down again, I was out. So I think I was out at an average of about 92, something like that. It actually made a swing late in the afternoon, hit 87 just there, dipped again and closed at 89. I think I actually bought some at 87 on that swing to keep overnight. So I hope, looking for the gap, just figuring that this news will filter through the forums and news sites, that it has been valued at $3 and hopefully we'll get a gap through $1 tomorrow. So I've kept some of that one looking for the gap play in the morning. Next one we'll have a look at is PEC, which is a rare earths play. As you know, the rare earths are just going crazy at the moment. We'll go to an end of day chart first. That's the daily. So it took off, I think, on news last week. Got to a high of 44. Next day it's continued on to 48 and then was basically game over for a while, so it started to dip. So we'll go to the intraday 5-minute chart. There's that 48, and it's been pretty much in a downtrend since. So the first thing you'd want to do is draw a downtrend line onto that. We'll just throw a rough one in. I'm not too exact with my lines at all. I just want them to give me a bit of a rough idea. So there's that line, and looking for a break of that, we're starting to get interested in. I'll take that line off. Starting to get an idea of where we want an entry. So the break of the first res there was around here. So you're looking at 39.5. Like I said previously, I'd want to see a little bit of volume kick in on these breaks. If there's not much volume, the swing may not have as much power to it. So, and there's the next one at 41. Friday morning, it does break 39.5 right there, and look at the extra volume that's kicked in. So there's the confirmation for me that the swing's in play. So it's quite a nice little run there. Got 3 or 4 cents out of it. Another dip, and there's the next swing. So we again look for a break of, well, 43 is the high, but considering there was this little 41.5, 42 res, maybe sort of look for the early entry there. But if we carry on, once it broke the 43, you can see that's when the volume kicked in again. So a nice couple of swing entries there on the intraday chart. Still needs to get through this 48 high to kick on, but a nice little swing entry there. I think if we go back to the end of day chart here, and we'll put these overlays back up, I'll whack some fibs on this. Now I think from memory, let's whack one from that previous low up to the top here. Look at that, it dipped really nicely down to that 38 fib line, almost exactly. So if you do follow the fibs, then that was a really nice entry to look for an area for your dip. I didn't in this case, but they can often give you an idea of where something may bounce. I think personally, because so many people watch them, I think they become a little self-fulfilling. But I'll just go back to that Wes chart for 1 minute because I wanted to show you the fibs on that as well. I'll pull up the daily, I think it is. Right, there's the intraday. We'll whack some fibs on this one. we'll go from this low back here, roughly up to this high here. And look at that, that dipped almost exactly down to the 50. So again, a really nice place to at least be looking out for a potential bounce if you do follow the fibs at all. Okay, so that was Wares and Peck. Last one we'll go to is AVB, another junior spec play. I've mainly been focusing on the small stuff lately because that's where real majority of the volatility has been. There's been some amazing runs in them, so while they're in focus, that's where I'll focus basically. There's the daily in AVB. You see it's had a really strong run since news back on the 21st of September. So we'll go to the intraday, and again just looking for that swing. Could probably draw a trend line on this one from here down to there. Actually, let me just get rid of those lines first. Sorry, try again. You'd probably draw some kind of rough trend line down through there and look for the break of that. Take that off. But if you use this point here, which is, what price is that? Looking at 9.6 there, that probably would be the key resistance area for me, just under the 10-cent tick change, the previous res before this continuation of the dip. So I was looking for a break of that one on Friday, and again for that kick in of volume. So if we look up here, it actually hit 9.5 once and looks set to go on some volume as well, but failed. So on this next leg, you've got the 9.5 and the 9.6 to break. So my entry then was looking at maybe the 9.7 to make sure it got through those two levels, and it hits it there, and you can see all the volume kicking in from there. So you get that break, which even more perfectly is just under that 10-cent tick change. So you know, the instant 5% gains from the 10 to 10.5 always makes it a worthwhile trade for me to take. So I've got in there, and it's actually hit 11.5, dipped, and then it's actually held quite well. It closed at 11, but it looked really strong in that last part of the afternoon. I expected way more profit taking, and it didn't come. So I've held a few of those overnight of the oppies, I think. Just looking again for a gap play in the morning. So there's 4 stocks for you. Hopefully I'll get onto some more on Monday night. Thanks.